Good morning, everybody. How you doing today? My name's Andrew.
I'm Aunt Becky.
I'm Matt.
I'm Tracy.
I'm Gavin.
I'm Grandpa.
I'm Daniel.
And we're some of the Veggie Boys.
And girls.
And we'd like to thank you for stopping by. So far, we've got the animals all taken care of. We got the farm market set up. All the greenhouses are watered. And Matthew and Dad are already on their way to a Pioneer meeting. Things are looking really good around here this morning. We got 1.5 inches of rain last night. Something that we've really needed for the vegetables. It hasn't gotten too dry, but that extra moisture always helps out. Now, I did pick up the camera a little later today. It is almost lunchtime, but I'll show you what we've been working on. Alrighty, Daniel, so what have we been working on this morning?
Doing other people's work. We're filling pots for fall mums.
You may remember back a few months where we spent the time filling up this greenhouse with pots and summer annuals. Well, out of this entire greenhouses and the greenhouses down over the hill, these are the only flowers that we have left. And since the greenhouse is almost empty, that means it's time to fill up with mums. Now with our mums, we use a different type of soil, which is what Daniel brought up with the skid steer loader. And we also have our rack full of plants. We're gonna try and get as many pots filled today as we can. My job is making sure that Daniel has plenty of pots to continue filling. Sometimes these things can be a little difficult to get apart. That's why you have someone putting them on for Daniel. Now these are the same pots that we use for our perennials, and we're going to be putting the mums into them. They're a nice pot. They are a little flimsy, so they can be hard to fill at times, but we're going to make do with what we have. Machine's out of soil, so we've got to fill it back up. Well, Gavin, it's so nice to have you with us. How was taking care of the horses this morning?
It's good. Thank you for having me.
The belly is full. The belly is full. We are now getting back to work. I just want to get the hose into the soil machine so we can get the soil nice and wet. The thing we have to really watch out for when we are using this particular soil, it is very, very dry. And for example, when Daniel is dumping the soil down into the pots, there will be a lot of dust, and that could make us sick. So we try to be very, very careful with that, and we like to wet the soil so that there's not dust just floating everywhere. It may not seem like that big of a deal, but at the end of the day, when you're coughing from having dust in your face all day, it does make a difference.
You steer, I push.
What's nice with the mum pots is we're gonna go from each table and put a line of pots down through. We already got those two sections started over here, and we like to keep everything in a line. That way when we start planting, it's really easy. And then after we finish planting and we put the pots in the place they're going to stay, we actually use automatic waterers to water all of the mums. It makes it a lot easier on our Aunt Rhonda, and it just makes everything a lot simpler when it's all set up automatically. We just got another cart full of pots, and while they take the pots down and unload them, I'm gonna get our machine filled with soil. Oh, this bag is wet. We don't even need to add water to this one. I was wondering why it was so heavy. Definitely definitely got dirt in my ear. Somehow the bags that are on the bottom of the pallet always have moisture inside them. Those bags were really heavy, so I didn't even need to add water to the machine. It's just ready to go. We've got a little update for you. We've got this section of tables finished, this section of tables, and now they're moving over to that side. And I'm putting more soil in the machine. We've been going through it like crazy. Now that we are finished with the smaller pots, Aunt Rhonda has some custom pots that we need to fill, starting with these large half barrels. Is that full enough? What's really nice about this machine is it came with a foot pedal attachment. That way we don't have to constantly turn on and off the machine. Just by using my foot and pushing down this lever, we run the machine and we can fill up our pots without having to worry about spilling them. So we have a few different types of pots that we do. We do the smaller mum pots, and then we have our hanging baskets. And then we move to our larger clay style pots, and then we have our half barrels. Now everything grows really well in each respective pot. With the larger pots, the plants usually will be bigger. And we're trying to just make sure that we have a little bit of everything for everybody. That was pretty exciting, huh, Gavin?
It was very exciting.
Aunt Rhonda's really happy. We got a lot accomplished there. And we'd love to fill up the rest of the greenhouse, but we have a little bit of a problem. We don't have any pots to fill. We've been waiting on a shipment for quite some time. Hopefully it arrives soon. This seems to be the year of patience, waiting for everything to show up. Now last night we got 1.5 inches of rain, which is something the vegetables really needed. And since we got that rain, I think it's a perfect time to go and check on the vegetables. I've hit my head on that door plenty of times in my life. Now the plan originally today was if it didn't rain, we were gonna come out and cultivate these crops again. However, the fields are a little on the wet side, so we don't feel comfortable bringing the equipment out into it. But from what we can see, these plants really enjoyed that rain they got. And something I'm enjoying is that we're starting to see some blossoms on the plants. This planting of peas behind me looks really, really nice, which for me is like a good thing and a bad thing. It means there's gonna be a lot to pick, but also a lot to eat, you know? That's exciting. Now that brings us to our next spot where our first planting of tomatoes are. From the time that we planted them, they seem to have rooted really well, and they're starting to grow about 8 inches out of the soil. Now every time you transplant your vegetables from your greenhouses into your fields, they will always experience a little shock. And if they did experience that shock, it's kind of hard to tell because all the tomatoes look really nice. Now when it comes to the cole crops, I don't have much more to say than wow. The cabbage, the cauliflower, the broccoli, it just all looks so good. We've been very fortunate that we've had the water and the moisture that we've had. We've gone through with the cultivator early on, that way we don't have to worry about weeds. As I mentioned, we wanted to go through with the cultivator today just to keep those weeds at bay, but unfortunately we're unable to. Now what we have planted to my right here is our peppers. I was really concerned about them in the beginning because at the time we were transplanting these, we were dealing with temperatures up into the upper 90s and we were worried about them drying out, but we got plenty of moisture after that. And when we planted them with the water wheel transplanter, we made sure that there was plenty of water soaking those roots down in. And the peppers look awesome. Peppers are one of those things that are very prone to shock when you transplant them. And from what I can see, they look really good. All of a sudden, our peppers are just gonna explode and get really large. That's the way peppers seem to grow, and I'm looking forward to that. Our next stop brings us over to the sweet corn, which has grown quite a bit since you've last saw it. Not too long ago, we just pulled the mulch off of this stuff right here, and it looks phenomenal. We weren't sure how all of this stuff was gonna look, it being our first time using that planter and mulch unit, but it just looks good. I don't know what else to say when it comes to the vegetables, just the stuff looks good. So I'm gonna say it's looking good. Along this tree line here is all the round bales we got from that cutting of hay. Now most of this is for the horses, so that will be for Joel over on a stable life. The rest was clover or alfalfa. That's why you see a big H on some of these bales. Stands for horses. We had to tell some of the neighbors that. They were very curious. If you've ever had chickens come in the mail, or maybe you haven't, maybe that's just a random thing. This is what it looks like. What's up, buddy? Welcome to the farm. So this is what we've got going on. We're gonna be putting the new chicks inside the storage area here. Now, we've explained in the past why we do this, but mostly it's just for the birds' protection. So Gavin is gonna be taking each chick out of the box, dipping its beak in water, and then setting it free. So what did you learn at your meeting today?
We were talking about new varieties of Pioneer seed corn. So we just planted a test plot, and they were talking about the new varieties and what we're to look for in each of the varieties in the test plot, such as how they emerge in colder soils, how the color of the corn and stuff when it's coming up. Also to keep an eye on different varieties and see which grows faster, which grows slower.
So they're basically asking you to be like a corn detective?
Yeah, but we're giving us ideas of what to look for in the different varieties.
We're all done taking care of the chickens now. Gavin has left. He went over to the stable to take care of the horses. And we've been working pretty hard. There's not too much that needs to be done right now. Something that does need to be done is the grass needs to be mowed. Only problem is we have the mower trapped in front of the tractor. I was gonna go mow grass, but I just found out we have no fuel in the mower and we have no fuel on the farm for it. Yeah, that's fun. Since I have no fuel for the mower, I think I found myself a new job. Every single time I get scared. And that landed right where I can't reach it, didn't it? Some of you may be thinking I'm wearing these glasses because of the new Top Gun movie that came out, but that's not true. I wore these glasses last year before the Top Gun movie came out, just so everyone knows. Clearing that up. I am now home. I just got the mower filled up with fuel, so now I should be good to go.
While I'm mowing the grass, this is a perfect time to talk about some of the things you don't normally see. On our left, that little raised bed was actually an asparagus bed. Our family eats a lot of asparagus and we like to raise it for ourselves. We don't have enough room for enough asparagus to sell in the farm market, but we love to eat it. Now, as we're driving on our left is our raspberries, our rhubarb, and our blueberries. And along the right side was our grapes. As we're making our pass back, you can see the grapes. Now, we make wine for ourselves. Matthew and I really like wine. But these are some of the things you don't normally see while we're working. We have grapes, blueberries, raspberries, we have an asparagus bed, and then as we're rounding this corner, those are all cherry trees right there. We raise sour cherries and then Grammy bakes pies with them.
Alright, just got done mowing the grass. I just got into the farm market and it seems like they got everything already put away. I'm pretty late past closing, so that makes sense. Alrighty. Here's the big problem. We're up at the house, but I already know what we're having for dinner tonight. We are having meatloaf, mashed potatoes, and carrots. Alrighty, everyone, as you can see, dinner is on the table. You haven't seen my wife or daughter today, and that is because they're visiting my wife's parents down in Florida. And yes, I miss them both a lot. But anyway, this is where we're gonna be ending the video. I'd like to thank everyone for being here, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.